You know, it really is one of my favorite times of the year. At least it was when I was a kid. I always liked Christmas far more than Halloween. And then as I grew up, I liked Halloween for the horror movies far more. But then I just decided, I don't have to just watch horror movies in October. I could watch horror movies whenever I want. So then horror movies started to stop being associated with Halloween. I don't go trick-or-treating anymore, but I still gather together with the family under the Christmas tree with the presents and all of the good times and the laughter and the cheers and the big festive dinner that comes afterwards or before. Sometimes if you eat dinner before you open your presents, if you're patient enough to do that. And of course, if there's any little ones in the family, they get to come in and get the presents, get all excited, and they get to open at least one before dinner. They're all so happy. It's a cherished time to have memories with your families, especially if you follow this faith. All of the other Reindeer is one of my most cherished Christmas movies ever. I love this movie. I remember first seeing it in the early 2000s on Cartoon Network during the holidays, and it became a yearly thing that they would show on there. And it wouldn't be until at least a decade or two later that I would understand exactly why I cherished this film so much. And that is mostly because of that name right here. What is that name here? Matt Groening. Matt Groening is the guy responsible for Futurama. And I've counted at least 3 people, 2 of which I can name, I remember the names of in this film, that I also remember the names of Futurama, that were in voice characters in Futurama. Let me see if they're on the back here, if anybody's on the back here. There are 2, they are! Okay, look at that. The Postman, he is voiced by the Robot Devil. If you listen to the Robot Devil's song that he sings to Bender when Bender goes to Robot Hell, that big, all bombastic song, that big theme, that's what really sparked my memory here, because I've watched this before Futurama, but then when I watched Futurama, it did not click to me that this is the same guy until after I'd watched this after watching Futurama. And then I was like, it's the same guy. I looked it up. It's the same guy. I can't remember his name, but it's the same guy. And of course we have Mrs. Claus. Here she has maybe 2 lines of dialogue, but I remember those lines of dialogue. This lady, I believe, is voiced by the lady who runs the Mom Robot Company in Futurama. I believe it's the same voice actress. And I'm pretty sure there's at least 2 to 3 other people in here, smaller roles, that voice characters in the Futurama. And we have 2 big actors in here. The guy that was in the Matrix, who betrays Neo and everybody. The guy that looks at the big steak and says, this is a simulation. I know this isn't real, but my brain makes it real. The taste buds makes it real. I enjoy ignorance and all that stuff. That guy, the guy who betrays everybody, he voices Martini the penguin. And then we have, of course, obviously, Drew Barrymore voicing Olive, and it's fine. She's fine in the role. It's a very short film. It's about less than an hour long, but with commercials. We called them commercials back in the day. Well, with commercials, it was about an hour long. And an hour felt like a long time when you're a kid, It feels like a long time. You watched an experience. It's not a half-hour show, it's a full-hour show. And if you're not used to watching shows like Law and Order yet, and you're used to watching shows that are only half an hour, then a full-hour feature feels like a big deal. So all of the other Reindeer was a cherished memory of mine, and I couldn't be happier to have a copy now in my collection that I can watch around the holidays. And this is going to be coming out on Christmas Day. Merry Christmas, everybody.